G'day, Heath here from pickinglessons.com, King of the Fairies. This is a great tune. It's becoming one of my favourites to pick at the moment. We're in the key of E minor. It's a hornpipe. It's a traditional Irish hornpipe. So there are two parts to the tune. Part A has a repeat for 16 bars, so there's 8 bars we're going to learn here in this video. Part B is 16 measures straight through, so the second half is a little different. So in a moment, we are going to check out part A here, but if you head to pickinglessons.com, you'll be able to grab yourself a copy of the tablature. There in the member section as well, we'll break down the lesson for part B, and you'll also have some play along and backing tracks to help you out as you learn the tune. So part A, we're in the key of E minor. We're using a combination of the natural minor scale and the harmonic minor scale. So just a quick note on the difference there. The natural minor sticks to the key signature, so there's an F sharp in there. Whereas the harmonic minor, again, has the F sharp, but we also raise the 7th note of the scale from D to D sharp. So we end up with this note occasionally in there as well. Yeah, so it's going to give us an interesting sound. We do use both the D natural and the D sharp. So let's check out what's going on. The hornpipe feel basically has a bit of a swing to it. So our 8th notes are uneven, long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short. So we're going to keep an eye on that as we move through. We have some triplets in there, which works great with this feel, the hornpipe feel, and we'll just keep an eye on what the right hand needs to do. So our first pickup note on that 4th fret there, that B, that's on an upstroke, and that's our last 8th note as we move in. So it's 3, 4, and 1. 3, 4, up, down. Yeah, and there's the E for the first measure. We'll come back and we'll play through this all as we go through, but the first measure to the first beat of that second measure there, you can really hear that hornpipe feel that we're after. So long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long, as we go through. So keep an ear out for that. If it was played straight like a reel, it would be like this. Hornpipe. So just adjust the feel and the length of those notes. Keep listening for that. But remember, out of the 2 8ths, the first is long, the second is short. So long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long. So the downstroke is always held that bit longer and the upstroke is later. Watch the fingering. Left-hand fingering is a little bit challenging at times simply because of the D sharp that we bring in. So the first 3 notes using the first finger. So the first fret is the sort of anomaly there, out of position, and we're going to come back into position again on the 2nd fret E. Otherwise, the fingering is going to be pretty standard as we move through, but it is all in the tablature, so you can check that out, as is the right hand pick direction. Now, measure 2. So the quarter note, there is no difference to how we play that. That's just one beat, yeah? So the hornpipe feel only affects the 8th notes. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. Yeah? Measure 3, we've got a triplet. Measure 3, we have this triplet. Before we play the rest there. And so the triplet, 3 8th notes in the one beat. So 1 and a 2. 1 and a 2. Yeah? So the whole measure, 1 and a 2, and 3, and 4, and. Right hand, triplet, we're going to play down, up, down. But next beat, we're going to come back to the down again to get back into that regular picking movement and emphasize that down pulse. So down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up. That one's worth working on if you're not used to doing that with the triplet. So the 3 notes, down, up, down, then down again. Again, ready, and down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down. So just that slight adjustment of our picking hand to emphasize the pulse, continue to emphasize the pulse as we do moving forward. The right hand there again, that tricky first finger back again. So do keep an eye on that, but that's going to pop up from time to time, that D sharp. Measure 4. We have another triplet in there. So we have the first part of that measure, 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4. picking structure is the same. So the triplet is down, up, down, but then down again for the next beat, beat 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4. We'll come back through all this in a moment, but let's just finish this off. So measure 5 and 6 are similar to the beginning. So measure 5 is like measure 1. We do change in measure 6. So we've got this little movement through here from the B, A, G, B, D. Yeah, watch that one. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and last 2 bars before we hit the repeat. Here in measure 7, there's something we need to watch with our first finger as we do in measure 3. So measure 3, we need to do the same thing as what we're looking at here. Our first finger for the triplet moves, after that B, moves onto the E. And what we want to do to make it as smooth a transition as possible is actually start in this slight bar position. So we're going to play the triplet with a flatter finger, so that we can then play the E instantly straight away rather than having to move the finger. We're already in position. So not first finger on its fingertip, because then we have to move it. So we're going to start with a flatter finger. We're barring across 2 strings, but then you kind of can switch back to your fingertip and adjust it as you go from there. It does make it a whole lot smoother and easier to play. So we want to do that in measure 3 as well. So it's exactly the same movement. Yeah, that B, C, B triplet to the E on the downbeat of beat 2. So that first finger bar, really keep an eye on that. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. First finger, half note, so 2 beats, dotted quarter, beat and a half to the pickup on the last 8th. So last 2 measures, 3, 4, first finger. And we go around. Let's try the whole tune once through. Part A once through. 3, 4, and 1. Get your first finger ready. There we go. Another triplet. And down. Triplet, first finger. If you can get that first finger position, as we mentioned, that certainly makes those little passages easier. But just remembering the hornpipe feel, the triplet picking, coming back onto the next beat, so the downbeat, and then just the overall hornpipe, yeah? So really being aware of that. It's not played overly fast. You can play it slower than I demonstrated at the beginning of this video, but you can certainly play it up-tempo as well. Have a listen, search for some versions, some recorded versions, and you'll hear the difference. Some are quite slow and drawn out, some move along a little bit more. It suits it to be slow on the fiddle, but I think picking, we probably want to keep it up a little bit because we just don't have that same sustain on the instrument. Playing it up a little bit quicker does work on the Mando. Now, pickandlessons.com, we're going to break down part B of the tune in the member section there, but you can grab yourself a copy of the tablature, so jump over and I'll see you there.